Hello and welcome to the topic male hypogonadism in the endocrinology module. By the end of this topic, you should be able to define male hypogonadism, explain the pathophysiology of male hypogonadism, outline the causes and classification of male hypogonadism, describe the clinical manifestations, and outline the investigations done for male hypogonadism, discuss the principles of management, and finally discuss the complications of this condition. Let's get started. Male hypogonadism refers to the decrease in one or both of the two major functions of the testis, which is sperm production or testosterone production. Hypo means low, gonad refers to sexual organ, hence hypogonadism refers to the low functional activity in the sexual organ. Let's look at the normal physiology of male reproductive function. This image is an outline of the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. In males, the testis has two principal functions, which are to synthesize testosterone by the interstitial Leydig cells under the control of luteinizing hormones, and spermatogenesis by the Sertoli cells under the control of follicle-stimulating hormones together with adequate testosterone. Negative feedback suppression of LH is mediated principally by testosterone, while secretion of another hormone by the testis named inhibin suppresses FSH. Pulses of gonadotrophin-releasing hormone are released from the hypothalamus, and this stimulate LH and FSH to release from the pituitary. LH stimulates testosterone production from the Leydig cells of the testis, and testosterone acts via the nuclear androgen receptors, which interact with co-regulatory proteins to produce the appropriate tissue responses, which are male secondary sexual characteristics, anabolism, and maintenance of libido. It also acts locally within the testis to aid spermatogenesis. Testosterone circulates largely bound to sex hormone-binding globulin. Testosterone feedbacks on the hypothalamus pituitary to inhibit GnRH secretion. FSH stimulates the Sertoli cells in the seminiferous tubule to produce mature sperm and the inhibins A and B. Inhibins feedback to the pituitary to decrease FSH secretion. Activin, a related peptide, counterreacts inhibin. Secondary sexual characteristics of male include growth of pubic, axillary, and facial hair, enlargement of the external genitalia, deepening of the voice, sebum secretion, muscle growth, and frontal balding. Male hypogonadism is due to the decrease in sperm production of testosterone production or both. Any disruption of the hypothalamus pituitary gonadal axis that we have discussed earlier may cause hypogonadism. These abnormalities can result from disease of the testis, which causes primary hypogonadism, or disease of the hypothalamus or pituitary, which causes secondary hypogonadism. Male hypogonadism can be classified into primary and secondary, in which we'll be discussing in the next slide. And here we'll be looking at the causes of primary and secondary hypogonadism. So congenital abnormalities that can affect testosterone production or testicular function, such as Klinefelter syndrome or cryptorchidism, can lead to primary hypogonadism. Acquired diseases such as orchitis, testicular torsion, trauma to testis, or any other environmental causes that affect the testis also may lead to primary hypogonadism. Causes of secondary hypogonadism mainly involve the disruption of the hypothalamic pituitary axis. Congenital abnormalities that cause isolated gonadotrophin deficiency, such as Kallmann syndrome, which is the most common congenital cause, or deficiencies of multiple pituitary hormones may lead to secondary hypogonadism. Suppression of the gonadotropins due to hyperprolactinemia, glucocorticoid therapy, critical illness, or damage to the gonadotroph cells in the hypothalamus, such as tumors, infections, pituitary apoplexy, trauma, or surgery, may lead to acquired secondary hypogonadism. So male hypogonadism can be divided into primary and secondary. It may result from a disorder of the testis, which we call primary, or disorder of the hypothalamic pituitary axis, which we refer to as secondary hypogonadism. Primary hypogonadism is more likely to be associated with a decrease in sperm production than in testosterone production. Although many testicular diseases damage both the seminiferous tubules and the Leydig cells, they usually damage the seminiferous tubules to a greater degree. Primary hypogonadism is more likely to be associated with gynecomastia, presumably due to the stimulatory effect of the supranormal serum FSH and LH concentrations on the testicular aromatase activity. This results in increased conversion of testosterone to estradiol and enhanced testicular secretion of estradiol relative to testosterone. Secondary hypogonadism is usually associated with similar decreases in sperm and testosterone production. This occurs because the reduction in LH secretion results in a decrease in testicular testosterone production and therefore in intratesticular testosterone, which is the principal hormonal stimulus to sperm production. Now let's discuss the manifestations of hypogonadism. The clinical features of male hypogonadism depend on the age of onset, severity of the testosterone deficiency, and whether there is decrease in one or both of the two major functions of the testis, namely sperm production and testosterone production. Congenital hypogonadism may be of first, second, or third trimester in onset. Congenital hypogonadism of first trimester onset results in inadequate male sexual differentiation. Complete absence of testosterone effects resulting in normal appearing female external genitals. Partial testosterone deficiency results in abnormalities ranging from ambiguous external genitals to hypospadias. The second or third trimester onset of testosterone deficiency results in microphallus and undescended testes. Childhood onset of testosterone deficiency has few consequences and usually is unrecognized until puberty is delayed. Untreated hypogonadism impairs development of secondary sexual characteristics. And lastly, the adult onset testosterone deficiency has varied manifestations depending on the degree and duration of the deficiency. Decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, decline in cognitive skills such as visual spatial interpretation, sleep disturbances, vasomotor instability, and mood changes such as depression and anger are common. Males who develop hypogonadism before the onset of puberty are not treated and have poor muscle development, a high-pitched voice, a small scrotum, decreased phallic and testicular growth, sparse pubic and axillary hair, and absence of body hair. Patients who develop hypogonadism before puberty may have small testes measured by oxidometer and a small phallus, which is less than 8 centimeters on an erect or stretched penis. Testicular atrophy may occur if the onset is after puberty. Gynecomastia, the presence of glandular breast tissue in male, is more likely to occur in primary than secondary hypogonadism. Next, let's look at Klinefelter syndrome, which is the most common congenital cause of primary hypogonadism. The clinical features of Klinefelter syndrome include small, firm testes, delayed or incomplete puberty with lack of secondary sexual characteristics, resulting in sparse facial, body, or sexual hair, a high-pitched voice, and a body fat distribution resulting in a rounder, lower half of the body with more fat deposited in the hips, buttocks, and thighs instead of around the chest and abdomen. Gynecomastia, reduced facial and body hair, infertility, a tall stature, abnormal body proportions, learning disability, speech delay, cryptorchidism, hypospadias, and social as well as psychological problems are seen. Now, in terms of diagnosis of male hypogonadism, it's confirmed by hormonal levels. FSH and LH and testosterone levels are the initial evaluation for hypogonadism. Levels of FSH and LH also help determine whether hypogonadism is primary or secondary. High gonadotrophin levels, even with low normal testosterone levels, indicate primary hypogonadism, whereas gonadotropin levels that are low or lower than expected for the level of testosterone indicate secondary hypogonadism. Primary hypogonadism require no further testing, although some clinicians do a karyotype to definitely diagnose Klinefelter syndrome. Serum FSH and LH are usually less than 5 international unit per liter before puberty and between 5 to 15 in adulthood. Total and when possible, free serum testosterone, serum FSH and serum LH levels are measured simultaneously. The normal range for total testosterone is 300 to 1000. This is in nanograms per deciliter. The testosterone level should be drawn in the morning before 10 a.m. to confirm hypogonadism. Because of the increase in sex hormone binding globulin with aging, total testosterone level is a less sensitive indicator of hypogonadism after age 50. Although serum-free testosterone more accurately reflects functional testosterone levels, its measurement requires equilibrium dialysis, which is technically difficult and not widely available. Semen analysis should be done in all men who are seeking fertility treatment. In adolescents or adults, a semen sample collected by masturbation after 2 days of abstinence from ejaculation provides an excellent index of seminiferous tubular function. A normal semen sample has a volume of more than 1.5 mL with more than 15 million sperms per milliliter, of which 50% are of normal morphology and are motile. Because of any systemic illnesses that can temporarily decrease levels of testosterone, FSH, and LH, secondary gonadism, hypogonadism should be confirmed by measuring these levels again at least 4 weeks after resolution of the systemic illness. To confirm secondary hypogonadism in adolescents, the GnRH simulation test can be considered. If levels of FSH and LH increase in response to IV GnRH, puberty is simply delayed. If levels do not increase, true hypogonadism is likely. So to help determine the cause of confirmed secondary hypogonadism, testing should include serum prolactin, which is to screen for pituitary adenoma, and transferrin saturation, which is to screen for hemochromatosis. Cellular imaging with MRI or CT is done to exclude a pituitary macroadenoma or other mass in men. Also, if there are symptoms or signs of Cushing syndrome, a 24-hour urine collection for free cortisol or a dexamethasone suppression test is done. If no abnormalities are identified, the diagnosis is acquired idiopathic secondary hypogonadism. Now, treatment is directed towards providing adequate androgen replacement conveniently and safely. Although patients with primary hypogonadism may not become fertile with any endocrine therapy, patients with secondary hypogonadism often become fertile with gonadotropin therapy. Because exogenous testosterone impairs spermatogenesis, TRT should be avoided. Because exogenous testosterone impairs spermatogenesis, testosterone replacement therapy should be avoided. However, if subsequent fertility is not a concern, testosterone replacement therapy alone may be used to treat secondary hypogonadism. Treatment of secondary hypogonadism in boys with gonadotropin replacement therapy usually stimulates androgen production as well as spermatogenesis. Testosterone replacement therapy can be used for males who have no signs of puberty, are near age 15, and have had secondary hypogonadism excluded. Infertility due to secondary hypogonadism usually responds to gonadotropin replacement therapy. Now, this chart shows the types of testosterone replacement therapy available. Surgery is only indicated for secondary hypogonadism due to tumor or obesity. A treatment for brain tumors such as surgery or radiation therapy can be offered to patients based on surgeon's opinion, and bariatric surgery can be offered to obese patients. The complications of hypogonadism induce delayed puberty, osteopenia, muscle loss, vasomotor instability, loss of libido, depression, and occasionally erectile dysfunction. For patients who receive testosterone replacement therapy, potential adverse effects include erythrocytosis, particularly in men over the age of 50 receiving IM testosterone, venous thromboembolism unrelated to erythrocytosis, acne, gynecomastia, and low sperm count. In summary, male hypogonadism refers to the decrease in one or both of the two major functions of the testis, which is sperm production or testosterone production. Any disruption of the hypothalamus pituitary gonadal axis result from disease of the testis or disease of the hypothalamus or pituitary, which may lead to hypogonadism. The causes of primary and secondary hypogonadism in male can be further divided into congenital and acquired. Klinefelter syndrome is the most common cause of primary hypogonadism. Clinical features of hypogonadism in a man include decrease in energy, libido, muscle mass and body hair, hot flashes, gynecomastia, and infertility, as well as lack of secondary male sexual characteristics. Diagnosis of male hypogonadism is confirmed by FSH, LH, and testosterone levels. Semen analysis can be done in those seeking for fertility treatment. Other tests can be done to determine the cause of secondary hypogonadism. Testosterone replacement therapy can relieve symptoms of hypogonadism but does not restore fertility. Gonadotropin replacement therapy can usually restore fertility in men with secondary hypogonadism. We have come to the end of this topic. Thank you.